We got one more night.
All right.
We got
the New
we
York
got
mass shooting.
yes, yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. Now I remember when we had the
I forget what the
conversation.
guy's name is.
Yeah, I don't remember what his name was either.
But there was
And actually,
for people that don't know, there was a shooting in on the New York subway system
right,
where a man walked on there and shot up a bunch of people, and then he got on another train and rode.
right, right.
But
But they got
I
him.
mean, it ain't funny, but
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Now no one died though. I mean, thank God,
But
man.
still, he shot
No
up the
one died.
train,
Oh no, no,
and
I'm not saying I'm not belittling it. I'm just
right.
saying thank God that no one died.
And here's a twist on that, and people uh may have realized that and may not, but I'm gonna bring it out there. On Fox News,
Mm.
they said that the FBI was investigating that as a terrorist, as a domestic terrorist
It should be. It
crime.
should be. That is. But the definition, the definition of why would Shice be calling us while we on the joint? Shice, we doing yeah, yeah, we still on that. I guess you don't listen to the show. He don't even know when we get off. He don't
Some real
even
brother he is.
some real brother you are. You don't even know when we get off the joint, Shice.
Come on, big bro.
You mean tell me you don't know we get off at 9? And we've been doing it for a year. You used to be on this show. Boy, I tell you.
Come on, big bro. Goddamn. But on Fox News, the FBI
I agree with that, dude.
investigated it as
A form of
domestic.
terrorism, as it should be. You when you do when you well, let me say this: when you do an act, and you know, I'll say mass shooting, not terrorism. You're not trying to terrorize anyone, but it should be deemed and handled as a mass shooting.
But it wasn't. When other people commit crimes like that, like the Las Vegas shooter
Right.
or the club, the guy that shot up the club in Florida,
Right.
all these other the mass shooting of the schools, the mass shootings of the church, that's what they call it, mass shooting.
Mass shootings, right.
When it's done by a white person.
Mm.
This so happened to have been done by a black person, and now all of a sudden it's domestic terrorism.
Yeah, now now the difference was
you get the nuance that
yeah. Now, I don't understand how they're doing that, because normally they say if you're going to deem it terrorism, it's when you're trying to persuade or create an outcome, meaning you're trying to you're trying to scare people
now,
to make them think
it was a mass shooting, and it was wrong.
Correct.
You know, it was fucked up. But my only thing is, like, I pay attention to different, like, little stuff like that, because those like the devil is in the details. You get what I'm saying? And little things, you got to pay attention to the little things. You know what I mean? Because little things turn into big things. You get what I mean? So you have to pay attention on how things are categorized and in comparison to other events. You get what I mean?
Right. Okay, now this is the definition of terrorism. Terrorism is defined as a code in the Code of Federal Regulations as the unlawful use of force and violence against persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government, civilian population, or segment thereof in furtherance of political or social objectives. Right. So I don't know how they're going to say if it was terrorism if he wasn't trying to persuade people or a government agency to doing anything. So,
but just like the other shootings, right? Just like the other shootings.
I would say that well, yeah, you're right. Unless maybe, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know how they're doing that. I don't know how they're doing terrorism.
Yeah, it's like I said, I don't condone the shooting.
Right.
Because damn, he said it's cool to. No, I don't condone the shooting.
Right,
it was a bad.
And they need to throw the book at him.
Right. He needs
as
to
they would anybody else.
Whatever.
Absolutely.
But what I'm saying is, my only thing that I want,
fairness.
I just want fairness. Right. I just want you to treat
law
us
colorblind. Right. The law is supposed to be colorblind.
It should be one law for
Correct.
everybody.
Correct.
And that law should be applied the same for everybody.
Equally, agreed.
That's what equality is all about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what equity is about. Everybody should have the same experience, the same, like we always talk about. We're Black Americans, right? For a reason. They call us African American for a reason, right? They call us that because there's a distinction. There's a distinction between an American and an African American.
Wait a minute, you think that's why they call us African Americans? They call us African Americans because our ancestors are from Africa, I thought. No?
Africa is a continent.
Okay, right, okay.
Right.
And the same way Italian is a country, you know, so but again, they call us African Americans because our ancestors are from the continent of Africa, right?
Right. Hey, look, hey Pat, I know you listening, Pat, and you when your nationality is an American, correct?
Wait a minute, wait.
Or is your nationality a Irish American? When somebody asks you your nationality, and I know Pat, he says I'm an American, right?
Not if you ask him his nationality. If you ask him where his country or what is his citizenship. If you ask a person their nationality or their heritage, they're gonna be a little more.
Oh, I'm all wrong anyway. He said his family come from Germany. My bad.
We trying to say they all looking like. Hey, Knight. You trying to say he look like he's Irish?
Patrick O'Leary out this joint. My bad, Pat.
Hey, Knight, man. You trying to say they all looking like?
See, he said yes. I identify as an American.
Right, but again, but he said though his nationality, he's from Germany. He identified.
I didn't say what your nationality was. I said, what do you identify as in this country? An American. You don't see, like you got lost on this same thing the last time we talked about it.
I got lost. No, I might have just agreed with you.
Like American.
No. I might have disagreed with you, but I didn't get lost.
Let me put it up here. Yes,
what do you say?
I identify as an American.
Right.
What do you identify as, Stace?
An American. I identify as an American, Knight. Now, if you ask me, if you ask me, be more specific, I'm an African American. Yeah.
To be more specific, come on, bro.
If you start it with basically, if you asking me for my heritage, I'm an African American.
Application, you say I'm an African American, right?
Absolutely right. Yes. Well, you know what? Okay, but you know what, though, Knight? Okay, let me go back though.
Well,
if you ask me what I was gonna say that. I was gonna say that. But listen to this though. That's the way that we identify ourselves. Remember when we talked about that last week? I said we, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that that's good that we say. Let me finish. I said that I think that it's good that, and I'm okay with people using those surtitles, whatever the term is. You're right. I do identify as an African American because that's the way that I see myself.
And that's the way I identify as an African American. And if I'm going to continue to be an African American, I'm going to need my own African America. You get what I'm saying? If I'm here in America, why can't I be an American? Why can't I be just?
You can be. But if you want to call yourself well, then what would I tell you? This is the result. Then this is the answer. Listen to this. This is the answer. I got a solution for you, Knight. When I ask you, how do you identify yourself? Just say American. How do you identify yourself, Knight?
But I'm not going.
See, you're not answering my question. If you choose to identify yourself as an African American, that is your choice. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was your question?
Dumbass. I just asked you, boy. That's that strawberry mash. Hey, Knight, man. Miss Holiday gonna be so disappointed.
I identify as an African American because that's what this country identifies me as. Right? Before the only reason that we identify as African American is because we got tired of people calling us colored, or we got tired of people calling us Negro. So we didn't like the terms colored and we didn't like the terms Negro, so we had to choose African American or black.
But Knight, but if I ask you, and you can choose to say American, right? Pat chose to say American. Wait a minute, what do you mean you can be lying? Aren't you an American though? You are American. How is that a lie though?
No, I am an American. I am an American, but I am an African American.
Right.
You don't wait. Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you a question, and I'm gonna wait for your response. You don't think there's a difference between an American and an African American?
No, Knight, because like you said, I'm an American.
Then why does African Americans exist?
Because that's a further description of who I am. That's almost like saying a man and a woman. I'm a human first, and then I'm a man. We're all humans. I mean, that's like saying that I don't want to identify myself as a man. I just want you to call me a human. You choose to say man because that's a further description, right?
See, I'm old school, man. They got all these rules and shit, and pronouns and all this and all that. I'm an African American male. That's it.
But what I'm saying is that if you wanted to identify yourself as an American, you could do that.
Myself as
listen. I said if you wanted to identify yourself as an American, you could, and it wouldn't be wrong.
This country identifies me as a African American, Stacey.
I'm not concerned with the way the country. I said if you chose to identify yourself as an American, you can, and it wouldn't be wrong.
I can identify myself as Peter Pan if I want to, and it wouldn't be wrong. Like,
I mean,
that's not. I
don't know about that, Night. I don't know about that.
I could walk around this bitch with a tutu on and a Peter Pan hat and say I'm Peter Pan. Yeah.
I mean, well, first of all, Peter Pan didn't wear a tutu, so I don't know you got that.
Just because I say it, that doesn't make other people identify me as that.
See, so again, well, you know what though? This goes back, but listen to this though.
Look. So when you go into an office, right? Mm-hmm. What do people in that office identify you as? They don't know you from a can of dirt.
American. They see the first thing they see is an American. No, I understand. I got you. I understand that. But that's not. But okay. Now this is what the listener said. He said, "Yes, I agree, Knight. Exactly. Why does African American exist instead of just calling you an American? I identify as being black. See, well, I think that I agree with part of what he's saying. I mean, I think it's the way that you identify yourself. When you asked Pat that question, Pat said, I identify, he called himself an American. And I said, you can do the same thing because you are. You're an American. You know, now, can you then say that there are issues with the fact that we haven't reached full equality or treated as a full-fledged American? I can agree with that. I can agree with that. But you can choose, and we can choose to identify ourselves as Americans if we want to. But again, I don't have a problem with us using that additional description because I think that is encompassing our culture, our heritage, and everything else. So I don't have a problem with that. You know, and furthermore, I don't think that negates the fact that I think that we still have more of a struggle to go through. What is that? What does that say? African American, black equals white. What African American equals black American equals white? Who put that up there?
I did.
Explain that mathematical.
There's supposed to be a space in between black American. It's a typo. But African American equals black person. American equals white person.
In your eyes.
In America's eyes.
In your eyes. Because you're listen to this thing. But then you're part of the problem.
Am I not African?
Yes, you are American. You're an American.
No, am I not an African American?
You're an African American also.
All right.
Because if that's the case, then So in other words, are you saying that everybody should just get rid of those sir titles? Get rid of those.
I know this going to sound like a racist joke, but it's not.
Don't do it then.
Two guys walk into an office. One is black, right. One is white. Pick out the American.
Wow. I mean, is that a question?
Pick out the American.
Are they?
Pick out the American. Who's going to pick it? Pick out if you want. If me and Pat walk into
an office building, right?
A company to get a job, right?
Right.
And they say,
who's the American?
Who's the American in the room?
Are you asking me how would I respond to that?
Right.
I'm going to assume that both of you are because you're born in this country.
Or who's the African American in the room?
Well, Pat is not black, so I'm going to say you.
Well, how come it's not? Who is the who? All right. Yeah. How come they're not saying who's the white American in the room, or who's the German American in the room? They're not going to do that.
I think we got
my response would be both of us.
and that's what I said. I would assume that in this country that both of you are Americans until somebody spoke up and didn't speak English. Because for all we know, Pat could have been from Slovakia or Ukraine and so my response is I would think that it's both of you until I was proven differently. What'd he say? I feel part.
Huh?
I see your point. Oh, that's why you put his up because he agreed with
you. Yeah, of course I did.
What did the other one say?
I agree with Knight. Good joke. Great example of why calling us African American kind of symbolizes to many that we're not worthy of full citizenship.
See,
right. That still goes back to states. That still goes back to us being 3/5 of a person. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that's why there's different classifications.
But listen to this tonight.
That's why, wait. And that's where, and I'll tell you where it comes from. There used to be, all right, they went from niggas to Negroes, from Negroes to color. And then we had a problem with all those terms. So we was like, since we're here in America, call us African Americans. We're from Africa, so call us African. Okay, we'll give you that. We'll give you that classification, but they didn't say, okay, well, we're not going to give you a classification. We're just going to call you American, just like everybody else. That's equality. That's what equality is.
But listen to this tonight, and this is a question: could it be a matter of perspective? Because maybe you view yourself as 3/5 of a person and not a full American. Whereas I'm saying no. Because listen to this. Let me finish. Because as I said last week, I think that I'm an American just like Pat, and I'm entitled to everything that Pat is entitled to as a German American. But I do recognize that we still have a struggle as Black folk and African Americans. That that we.
I gotta correct you on one thing. I do not think I am 3/5 of a person.
Okay, I mean,
if anything, I think I'm 5/3 of a person.
Damn.
Yeah,
right. I understand what you're saying. No, I mean, but again, I'm just saying,
on this planet ain't nobody on this planet is better than I am.
No, I agree with
that. Anybody else.
Listen, well, I said that. I said that in jest, Night. But my point is that, like I said before, I think it's a matter of perspective. I view myself as an American, period, the same way like Pat views himself as an American. And I'm entitled to all of the bells and whistles and everything else that comes along with that citizenship that any other American, because I feel like my ancestors built this country just as much as anybody else's. Now, again, that doesn't.
So you're saying you don't consider yourself an African American?
I do.
So you're both.
I said that. I said that we're all Americans, and our further description is African Americans. The same way that we're all humans, but if you want to drill down a little further, I'm a man, but we're all humans. I'm an American, but if you want a further description, I'm an African American. So yeah, I'm an American, just like anybody else. And that's the way that I view myself. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's a matter of.
I've actually heard you say that you're African American.
I just said I am. I didn't say that I'm not. Did you hear me say that I'm not? I said that I'm an American, and I'm an African American. If you want to drill a little further or be a little more descriptive, I'm an African American, but I'm an American. Like you, you're an American.
So you're American first.
I'm an American first, and I'm an African American because I was born in this country. Yes.
Well, I'm just the opposite. I'm an African American first, and then I'm an American. Until our people have the same equality, equity, just social justice, and everything in this country.
You don't look at yourself. You don't look at yourself as a full-fledged American.
I'm an African American. That's what I am. That's what you are.
Right, but you said you don't, until we get full equality,
right.
You don't view yourself as a full American.
How can I?
But you're born here. You're entitled to the same thing. Aren't you entitled to the same thing?
I am entitled.
Right.
But do we have it?
No, correct. I said that. I said that we still have a long way to go. We still got to struggle. But I view myself as just as entitled as anybody else out there that was born in this country.
I do.
And I feel like my ancestors fought for that. And I'm not going to give them that.
Stace, you're missing the point of this conversation. You can identify yourself as the Easter Bunny. Mm-hmm. That doesn't give you the same. That doesn't give you the same footing as a white person in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
well,
read that statement for
me. Senator Mitch McConnell said black people I can't say that word.
Vote
just as much as Americans. Right. I mean, that's I don't understand. Yeah, that's what he said. But I don't understand
what he just said.
I don't understand what he's trying to get. The point he's making though. Senator McConnell said,
"How can you not understand that?
Black people vote just as much as Americans."
Oh, that's that strawberry mansion shit coming out. That's why you don't understand what he's saying.
I mean,
or some shit.
What point is he trying to make though? I mean, is he saying that?
He said what he said. Black people vote just as much as Americans.
Right, which means that
you don't see the distinction there.
No. Is he saying that? Is he agreeing with me that means that we're just as American as anyone else?
Oh my God, Stace.
Well, what is he saying though? That's what I'm saying.
This is what he's saying right here. This is what he's saying.
They truly didn't consider us to be Americans. Oh, I understand what he's saying. Okay, I get what he's saying now. I get what he's saying. That's that white Zinfandel. Okay, I get what you're saying.
Oh my God.
African Americans. Mitch McConnell said black people vote just as much as Americans. Okay, I said he's drawing the distinction. Okay, I get what you're saying.
They all do.
See, but again, I think but that's the problem though. But that's the problem. I said right, but see, well, okay, I understand what you're saying. I understand. I get it. Again, I view myself as just as much of an American as anyone else, regardless of what.
But like I said, you can view yourself as the Easter Bunny if you want to. Mm-hmm. That don't make it true. That don't make it. That doesn't make it where our government sees you as that. You can say you're the Easter Bunny. You the Easter Bunny every Easter if you want to, but the government ain't going to recognize you as the Easter Bunny.
But it doesn't make them right either, though, because I am entitled to that. I am an American.
Because I am the Easter Bunny.
I don't know if that noise is what the Easter Bunny makes, but
Remember the Cadbury commercial, the Easter Bunny?
Oh yeah, damn.
All right, man, let's close up, man.